Good evening.
Hello.
So today is our second day in the jungle. We came in last night by small plane and canoe and hiking in the mud, lots of mud.
That's right, we did.
And then today we got invited to one of the small, well, they're not that small, but one of the houses for a morning ceremony with one of the founder elders.
What were we? We were up at 3:30 this morning?
Yeah, we got up at 3:30. Apparently this is something they do every day, which was interesting. It's a tea that they drink, and apparently they just hammer it.
It's full of caffeine.
And then they make themselves vomit, with the intention being that it clears out their digestive system, so there's no undigested food, and it's a way of cleansing for the day. So we got invited to join for that. Everybody, the ladies get up at 3:30 to make sure this happens. We were there probably about 4 by the time we hiked through the jungle in the dark and the mud to get there in time. And you sit quietly, and the front half of the house, which is just it's one of the things that we showed yesterday, but it's this. It's where we are. We're in a house now. Can't really see very well. It's getting dark, but we do have a fire going. There, that behind us is a house. Theirs are on the dirt. Ours are elevated, and the front half is for basically entertaining, and the back half is for living in. And we got invited into this, and we could see the women in the back sitting around and just sitting by the fire and warming themselves. And they put the tea out, and then but the front half is pretty much man's land, and they let everything run there. So we
sat around on benches, and with these big, they're like pods. I don't know how to describe them. What were they made of? Like coconut they're not coconut shells.
Oh, they're gourds.
They're gourds.
We were given gourds to sit and drink the tea.
To scoop out the tea with and drink a lot of it, so that you would have a full belly. And then once your belly was full, you would go off to the side.
You go out into the darkness and in the rain and make yourself vomit, which I've never done that before, but I did this morning. It was interesting.
I tried and did like a little amount, and really nothing more was coming out. Probably hadn't drunk enough, but still, you got to share your dreams after that.
And then everybody shares their dreams and they discuss them, with the intention being how can people this is where the verbal oral tradition is handed down, is in these morning conversations. Nobody talks until everybody's thrown up, and then they talk. And this isn't for us. This is a real deal. These guys we are way back in the middle of nowhere, and this is the Achuwa people. This is how they live, and this is what they've done forever and ever.
This is what they do. It's their ritual. It's what they do every morning.
So we did that, and we discussed dreams, and it would go from us to our guide, and our guide would translate from English to Spanish. Then the local guide would translate from Spanish to Achuar to the elder, and then the elder would give us his interpretation of whatever somebody's dreams were. So I don't really remember my dreams much, and we ended up talking about if they have deja vu, which was kind of fun. And they understood the concept, and they do have deja vu, but it's mostly around hunting. Like they'll feel like they're in a new part of the jungle, but suddenly they feel like they know that jungle. So it's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So we came back, lounged, had a little bit of lunch, or had some breakfast, hung out, napped. Been feeling uncomfortable, or not comfortable, just a little off. And then after that, we went for a nice hike through the jungle.
Through the swamps.
Through the swamps. And jungle is what you expect. Super thick, super heavy, not easy to get around in. And our tour guide walked us through.
Super fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Super fun.
So we ran around, did that, came back, and napped again, hung out for a while. And then
showered because we were all so hot and sweaty.
Yeah, it is so humid. Oh my God. But it cools off at night. It's really nice.
But then we all got ready because we were going to visit with the community, go and visit actually Roberta's house, who Roberta's been one of our
Emissary
guides
guides.
here.
Yep.
And been really helpful and takes us everywhere. And we got to go to his house for lunch. And it wasn't just lunch, it was actually first talk and greet each other and get served chicha and have that and talk some more.
And we got to meet the elders and they sang songs. And they had a little market, and we bought a bunch of cool stuff. And
yeah, and we got to eat this delicious food that was laid out. We had like our table was big palm leaves all around us, and then on top of that they had cooked our fish and plantain, and it was
what's the other root?
Manioc.
Manioc was the root,
It's all
and then
steamed and was delicious.
And this today also included chicha, which is fermented. It's a manioc root that they beat to death and pulverize, and then the women actually chew, and the enzymes from their mouth actually start to get it fermenting, and then they put it into jugs and they ferment it. And then that's like their super core key thing for
carbohydrates
and
for liquids,
and socialization. I mean, everybody this is what they do is they drink this fermented. It's kind of like a potato root, but more than a potato. It's almost like a rutabaga kind of thing. And so I drank chicha, first booze I've drank in years, just a little taste. But there's all sorts of specific rules that we're not allowed to look at. The men aren't allowed to look the women in the eyes. Women aren't allowed to look the men in the eyes. So they'll do it, but they kind of look away, and they're like handing it to you, and you can take it, and they'll either make you drink more, or it was fun. So then we did that. Again, we sat for probably a good 2-3 hours talking with everybody. Then we had the market, and we bought some fun things, which was interesting. And then we asked in advance what we could bring to give to the kids. And we had these little toy dinosaurs, which was kind of fun. And then we had a big bag of crayons, so I gave each kid a few crayons and some colored pencils. So it seemed to be fun. Mm-hmm. And now we're back up here, and I fell asleep. So that's why it's dark. And I took a nap.
And I was sitting writing in my diary, finally catching up in the journal, and hearing all about what we will be doing next in the next few days. And one of the things we'll be doing is ayahuasca, which it sounds very exciting and interesting to do too. So you'll be hearing more about that later.
Yeah, it's some people call it a hallucinogen, some people call it a medicine, some people say you take ayahuasca and you throw up and then you meet God. I don't know. It's but a lot of people come here just for that experience. It's not really our main. It's obviously not our main reason here, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes. So, but other than that, we've got some dinner coming. I gotta say, last night I slept awesome. It was wonderful.
Yeah, he was snoring.
Yeah, I'm fighting a cold, like I said, but seems like we're about there and getting into a groove. And we got a nice fire going here. It's nice. It actually cools off enough to have a fire, but the smoke helps keep everything moving too. So, very exciting.
Yep.
And tomorrow is another day.
Tomorrow is another day in the jungle.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.